News on KTRS.
925 here, Big 550 KTRS. You can watch us, stltoday.com on the opinion tab. Also, you can watch us on the front page of KTRS.com. We've gotten a lot of people who want us to post this audio. We've posted almost all the audio after the show, and you can get that at KTRS, or you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter and all that other stuff. We're broadcasting from the First Rule Film and Broadcast Studios in Brentwood at the University Tower. Now, I have three prominent lawyers here, Jay Kanzler, Jane Duker, and John Deal. We will not post that audio. I don't want that out there that I said we have three prominent lawyers.
Right.
However,
bleep it out.
However, I have some numbers, and this has sort of been a topic of conversation on the show. I have some numbers that are kind of interesting, and I want to find out what you three think of this. Beverly Hills, population 574 people.
Not in California.
Beverly Hills, North County. They have 14 police officers. They wrote 3,200 traffic tickets in 2013, 1,000 ordinance violations. And their town of Beverly Hills is 0.09 square miles. Uplands Park, population 445. They wrote 2,000 traffic and ordinance tickets. Floridale Hills, population 822 people. They wrote 3,000 traffic tickets and ordinances. Calverton Park, less than a square mile, 1,300 people population. They wrote 8,000 tickets. Charlac, population 1,300. They wrote 4,000 traffic tickets. Edmondson, population 834. They wrote 6,000 tickets in 2013. Hilldale, 1,500 people. They wrote 4,000 traffic accidents. Velda City, 1,500 people, 6,000 tickets. I could go on and on and on. These people are run by predominantly African-American people, mayors appointing police chiefs, mayors sitting on boards, and city administrators. The argument at Ferguson is that we are being ticketed to death, and we're being ticketed out of extinction. It seems to me like these people are being ticketed by, quote-unquote, their own people out of extinction, and the problem is that's the issue. How do you solve that issue?
Well, you raise, an amazing point. And again, we talk about, getting people out to vote, actually participating in their government. I mean, this is their government that is oppressing them. And none of that makes sense. I can't imagine anyone who says that that's okay. And it's not. And they're raising money to keep their city alive. And that's, it's unacceptable. I mean, what services are they really providing? And they need to be held accountable as to whether they are providing those services or are they just merely existing. And because they are little cabals of power, and people tend to not get rid of their own power, voluntarily.
You guys know the county better than anybody. Because these towns are there, the county council isn't in charge of those towns, right?
And that's something that needs to be very clear, and it's never been clear to the national news. It's even challenging locally, and St. Louis is not a sort of a well-planned city in that way. You have unincorporated St. Louis County, so if you are not living in a city that's incorporated, then the county council governs you. And so the county council or the county executive has absolutely no power directly over these municipalities. The 93
in other words,
municipalities.
So they're screaming and yelling at this county this county council meeting about these towns, and yet the county council has no power over them.
Well, and in fairness, I don't remember that being a big. I know it's a discussion everywhere. It wasn't Tuesday night,
right?
But legitimately, people are outraged by this scenario. But the idea, though, is they're allowed to exist pursuant to state law. And so, if they incorporate and they follow the rules that are in the statute, they get to be a city. So, and once, you have a little city council, it's very difficult. St. George is the only one I know of. It existed solely as a speed trap. And eventually they decided, this is sort of stupid and we're not doing it. And they disincorporated.
St. George was trying to hire Charlac officers from North County to come down and write tickets in South County.
And because that was the only way.
Because they do such a good job.
Right. It was a notorious speed trap and everybody knew it. And they disincorporated themselves, which is very rare that somebody will disincorporate. So I think the best way that you go after the root of this problem is you have to say that, one, I think upping the standards for these police departments. I mean, one of the
how do you
legitimate
get
concerns,
rid of these towns? How do you get rid of these towns?
you starve them, frankly, out of this kind of revenue, and you don't let them abuse it in a way that's inappropriate.
And you know the best place to start? The stoplight cameras. Without those, you know, when you have to hire officers to write tickets, it's more expensive.
They were doing that before the
I
technology.
understand, Jane,
Come
but
on.
I'm saying you're making
I mean,
it much easier for them. I sat through a little town council meeting last week where about 80% of the conversation was about how we write more tickets. And the two things they said were, we have to get these new cameras that are coming to town so we can set them up on our streets. And you will look at every one of those towns, and
they're
what
all
you will
just
notice
revenue enhancers.
what you will notice is they all have a main street driving through them, and so that they can run traffic tickets. So we got to get those new cameras so that we
people
can
could
write
vote
more
tomorrow.
tickets. And B, until then,
right.
we have to hire more officers, full and part-time, so we can write more tickets. It's a revenue enhancement. It's all about keeping themselves in
and
business.
the people can vote. They can take over. And
John
prevent
Deal, how
that.
do we get rid of that problem?
For a couple of things. Actually, this is something I've actually looked into quite a bit, and I had a bill a couple years ago called House Bill 1891, which was filed back in 2012. And actually, when you take a look at what happened in Ferguson, go back and take a look at House Bill 1891 and how it possibly could have solved some of the problems that we have now. Number one, you have to set minimum standards for municipal services, okay? And number two, and particularly with regard to police departments. So a lot of, as Jay pointed out, a lot of these municipalities survive solely upon revenue received from writing tickets on interstates or red light cameras. That is wrong. That has to stop. That's not the purpose of a city, is to collect money, fining its own citizens to pay for basic municipal services.
Basically paying for their own salaries.
I mean, that's right.
And well, hold on.
They don't really
let me-
give any services, but go ahead.
And the second part is, what is it doing to the population in those municipalities? So we talk about the problem with there aren't enough African American police officers in Ferguson. Okay, well, what do you need to become a police officer? You have to have a quality education and be able to pass a test. And number two, you can't have a criminal record. So when these municipalities are fining and ticketing failures to appear, warrants, what happens? There's a police record, so they
Right.
can't go become a police officer. It's a death cycle, okay, in terms of being able to let those municipalities, to allow the residents who live in those municipalities to actually have a hope of a quality life down the road. So what do you do with it? One, you set minimum standards for what it takes to be a city. A city cannot survive on fine, police, and traffic revenue. That can't happen. Two, you have to set minimum standards. And what this did, you know, if you go back and look at this bill, they have to have, one, a city has to have a balanced annual budget, has to have a responsible accounting system. It has to have a complete set of ordinance, a law enforcement unit comprised of armed police officers, not red light cameras, okay? Written policies regarding the use of force by police officers, okay? And if all those things are in place, okay, the residents feel a lot more comfortable that it's a viable city and what they're doing. But they're contributing, in this situation, is contributing to the death spiral of those cities because you're trying to squeeze every last dollar out of the residents who live there who don't have any money to begin with.
If we listened if we truly listened between the lines of all the rhetoric and all the everything in that Ferguson protest, that was the underlying problem, was we are being systematically ticketed out of existence by our own people. And where's that conversation going
And
on?
they're
I
being
think
made
it is.
criminals.
Right.
Yeah, right. And
Right.
I also think that underlying that too, and while I agree with a lot of what John says, I would even go one step further with regard to the police departments. A lot of these police officers would never be able to even get hired by St. Louis County.
Right.
I think there needs to be uniform standards for police officers. And if your city cannot afford or attract a police department that would meet those standards, then you can't have one. And if you can't have one, you can't write tickets, and therefore maybe, or if you cannot afford to contract with the county in order to secure appropriate police services with standards and accreditation and all of that, then you do not get to be a city.
It's almost like the Catholic Church. They keep sending around all these bad priests. I mean, you see some of these police officers, and they get fired from this place, and they go over there, then they get fired from that thing, so they go over here. I mean, they just sort of playing musical chairs with these police officers.
Police officers never have trouble with additional training and having standards, because those who live by the rules want everyone to live by the rules. And I've heard that a lot from Ferguson residents. If there were minimum uniform standards that we're not crossing 1 mile, and we have completely new standards for traffic and police and what's appropriate and what isn't, then, that's terrifying, and that's legitimate.
That's Jane Duker, John Deal, and Jay Kanzler. Back in a moment. The board meeting continues on the First Rule Film and Broadcast Studios on the Big